Hello, this is a prepaid call from
Joe. Welcome to Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker.
And I'm your co-host, Ana Lucia. And today we have Joe's son, Boo, back on the podcast to talk about, what, I guess, the struggles of how inmates can kind of start their life outside of prison and, how he did that and any suggestions he might have. So
what it's like. What's life like? Get out. Why is it so hard for people to move beyond that life of crime? And I'm excited to have Boo back on here. What's up, boy?
What's going on? How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I'm got to wake up. We do it early. That kind of thing. So, well, we just want to get right into it. Again, introduce yourself to everybody. They already know you, but let's do it again for the new listeners. Introduce yourself. Tell them what's going on with you.
I'm Joe T, the third. And I'm excited about this interview because, I've talked to a lot of people that have struggled coming out of prison with not going back into the lifestyle or going back and forth with the lifestyle because, not knowing, not ever living another life outside of that. It's hard to, cross over. So it's gonna be a good interview. Starting off with saying, man, I just spoke at a college, 2 days ago, and it was major to me.
Where was this?
It was in Augusta, Georgia, man. And even when I was standing there sharing it, the struggles that I've had to continue to push, and then standing there, I was like, I would have never thought, I would be standing in front of college students speaking with no college education and coming from where I come from. So I'm excited about sharing, what we're about to talk about.
Okay, then. Well, dig that. Well, let me jump right to it then. Just tell us, what was it like when you first got out? What I'm saying? You had these hopes and dreams when you left from here. I know you wanted to sell your books. You wanted to do all of this. You were excited. What was it like? What kind of support did you get after that?
I want to start with this, man.
Okay.
I was expecting a certain amount of support coming home that I did not walk into, and you can do all the preparing you want. You can study all you want because, ministry was my life. I did a lot of studying as far as the word. I did a lot of studying as far as self-help books when it comes to mindset. I did a lot of studying when it comes to, financial things and stuff like that. You can say all of these things to yourself when you're sitting behind that fence, and I was back there and I was behind the fence for 10 years straight. But the moment you step back out into society, a lot of those things that you think have prepped you for society, they are not useful. It's almost like going to school all of these years. You go to elementary, middle school, high school, and then you graduate, and then you step out into the world and you realize all of these subjects that they gave you don't even help you in life. And it was like, okay, what am I going to do? How am I going to do this? Even though I had already wrote 3 books and self-published one of them while I was in prison, which I was excited about, I had no idea of how to promote it. I had no idea how to do marketing. I had no idea that I was going to have to literally get in front of these people and try to sell this book fresh 10 years out of prison, so I dealt with social anxiety and all of these. I dealt with a whole lot of different things. And the one thing that was presented to me 2 weeks after I was home, which probably was shorter than that, was my old lifestyle. So after 2 weeks of being home, and I'm realizing this might be a little harder than I thought. This might move a little slower than I thought. This might not pick up until, I got to do a lot of grinding. I got to do a lot of pushing. I got to do a lot of research. Then I got to overcome these fears within myself to make this work. So by the time my old lifestyle was presented to me, which I'm talking about hustling and being around those old people, my brain was fighting to just resort to doing what I'm familiar with, what I know. That's easy for me. I know how to do that. I know how to make money. I know what come with it. So it was a huge struggle. And then not having support, when I'm telling people this what I want to do, and people that probably was in the position to help me get to they were not supportive. Man, you ain't gonna be able to sell books, and they didn't think, because it's hard to get support from people.
Okay, let me ask you real quick. So when you say support from people, Do you mean emotional support, financial support? What were you not getting?
All of it, emotion, and all of it, emotional support and financial support, all of it, it's emotional when I'm trying to but they both can hit you at the same time, no emotional or financial. I'm trying to get support from you by asking you to support. Not only do you discourage me about what I'm trying to do, that's already emotional, and then you already letting me know you're not finna help me financially. You hit me both times with what you hit me with a combo off the top.
Off the top, yeah. So how did you push through that?
Me personally, I believed in the vision. I believed I had to. It takes courage to fight against negativity. It takes courage to fight against when people saying no. It takes courage to continue on in what you believe that's in yourself, in your vision. I chose to, no matter what, I believed in what I wanted. I wanted what I wanted, regardless of how anybody else felt about it, and I was gonna fight for that. I was gonna fight for that. So that's what helped me. And of course, I had moments where I had doubts, or I didn't have the faith that I needed, and I struggled a lot. But even in those struggles, I didn't never submit myself over to, I give up. I'm just gonna go ahead and do this.
Right.
But I kept pushing for what it was I wanted.
Yeah. Dig that. Okay, and give me some insight on those. So while you were in those moments of struggle, when you first got out, I remember you telling me about when you were setting up the booth and you were selling the books on the interstate out there in Springfield, and the support like that. You said you got good support. People were coming out. So how did that taste of support, that small taste of support, how did that influence you?
That small taste.
Did that give you that drive, or no?
It helped a lot. Let me tell you how it helped. Because one thing about when you pursuing what you pursuing, you don't get support from the people you are expecting support from. The people who
mean by that specifically?
My loved ones, the people that I know that I care about, people that I grew up around. We're all grown at that point. I've been home 4 years. I was 29. When I came home, 29 going on 30. So I'm expecting to see a lot of the people that I grew up with, people who knew my story, people who knew, what I had overcame. The people who came and bought books from me were probably older, a mature group of people who had heard my life. It was a lot of people who came down and were saying like, boy, I used to, pray for you, or boy, I used to see you and I used to hear about you. I know your mama. It wasn't the people that I expected to come. It might have been a handful of them that showed up, that, knew me personally, was around here and there. But the people who came out and supported me was not the people I was expecting. But so that was a plus. That was a plus. But it helped me. This is how it helped me. I immediately understood that the people that are going to support me are going to be complete strangers. And that's what it's been ever since. People are more supportive of you that don't know you, and the people that know you personally, I don't know if it's jealousy, I don't know if it's envy, I don't know what it is, but for some reason they show a lack of support that I feel that they should be the most supportive people. But in what I believe in the word, the king said himself, a prophet is without honor in his own country. He wasn't able to do the miracles for his own hometown because they were so negative. They didn't believe that who he said he was. So by the time I come home and I done made this change, and I'm expecting people who knew what I went through and they didn't show up, and it was people who, and boom, and that's what it's, and it's still like that right now. I just released another book today. I'm shipping them out today. I've only had one sale at home. I've been promoting it. I still get sales back home right now from people who don't know. I'm the one who do all the shipping. I'm the one who's in control of the website. I see when you order the book, and I'm the one who's got to mail it to Springfield, Tennessee. I know who you are.
So
and I'm
what
like,
support is.
Yeah, I'm like, I've been home 2 years pushing this book. You was there when I was, just like what you just asked me in the question, when I was in the parking lot. You seen me in the parking lot. You seen me promoting this on social media. Why you didn't come and get it then? The same people now want to buy books because they see that it's doing what it's doing. So
Yeah. Wow, that's sad. That's sad. That's disappointing too.
Do you think maybe it was like, I don't know, jealousy in a way? Like,
most definitely, I believe it was jealousy. And I think most people stuck in life or stagnant in life or have gotten comfortable and can't see beyond where they are. When other people are doing that, I don't think they realize what they're stirring up in them. I don't think they take a look to see or ask themselves, why do I feel that way towards that individual? Why am I feeling that type of way about that person's success? What is it in me that's making me operate? I don't think they realize how negative they are coming off, because a lot of them have just been around that their entire life. And sometimes you don't realize that you've become accustomed to negativity. And if it's not negative, you don't know how to have another conversation with yourself for you to see it in a different perspective. And it's
or to be happy for somebody else.
Or to be happy for somebody. Yeah, and if you're not happy with yourself, of course, there's no way you can be genuinely happy for somebody else, especially with somebody who lived a life like me and you feel don't deserve it, and you are saying to yourself, why him? You know what I'm saying? That's
not me.
And not me. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I remember one time, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know if it was you said police officers, or a few police officers that bought your book and was supporting you and all that. How did that make you feel?
It made me feel
that one time was chasing you down.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And now they're supporting you. How'd that make you feel?
That right there, I felt that was like my first peak, and when I first realized like I was doing something greater than where I came from. Like when this officer pulled up, this particular one officer, it was two of them. This officer had chased me several times, high-speed chases on foot. This officer had caught me once or twice, draw down on me once or twice with his weapon. He transported me. This officer really knew who I was. And when he seen me in the streets, he knew. You know, even when he pulled up on me, he told me, he was like, man, a lot of us used to be scared of you. Like the stuff he was saying, he remembered right then and there was telling me some of the stories where he remembered the high-speed chases and all of it. And he was like, man, we talk about you all the time now. He was like, you know, when you came home, officers, they ask about people that done came home and what they doing. They ask they confidential informants, I'm sure. And he was like, everybody was saying, now, dude done changed his life, man. You know, he doing ministry now, and he wrote some books. And he was like, I couldn't believe it. He said, so when I seen you sitting right here, you know, selling your book and doing it, he said, man, I gotta go. And he came over, he bought 2 books, and he was like, man, I'm so excited to read it. He said, man, please sign. He said, man, please sign it for me too. Sign it for me. He was like, man, and he said, look, and sign this one. He said, sign this one. And he said, this other officer name. He said, because I'm telling you, he said, this is gonna blow his freaking mind when I tell him. He said, when I tell him, look, guess who I got this book from? He's like, man. And he was like, man, and when he was looking at the book, like he was looking at it like amazed that I did it. And you know, and then we took a picture. We took a picture, and when I took the picture, I posted it on my social media, and everybody from my hometown said I was wrong for it, called me the police, said they said I was wrong because I took a picture with the police. They were still stuck in a certain mentality as if I should have told the police, nah, I ain't selling you no book, or not take a picture. But I'm like, what? And these same people they were calling me the police, calling me a snitch, calling me a rat, because the police came and supported me. And when I seen that I was like, wow, these same people who are saying these things did not come and buy a book from me, have not said congratulations, have not said they were proud of me, have not gave me anything since I've been home. I take a picture with a police officer who knew me in the same light that you knew me in years ago, came down here, pulled over, took his time to congratulate. Not only that, and also told me, man, if you need help with anything, you call me. And he was honest about it, because he gave my information to another officer who said the same thing, he had a gym. He told me, man, it ain't much I could do for you. I got a gym. He said, you don't even need a membership. You want to come in there and work out? Tell him I sent you.
Oh, wow.
These same people who were talking about me didn't offer me anything. And now all of a sudden you're trying to make people in the streets feel some type of way about me.
Yeah. Now, Anna, she just asked you that, did you think it might be jealousy? Listening to you talk, because when she asked that question, I was like, yeah, that's what it is. But listening to you talk and share that about the police officer buying your book, it's making me think, you might think, and Anna, for you too, you might think that it might be anger, that they see you as somebody that don't support that lifestyle no more? Do you think they might be angry at you about that and not really know how to express that? Do you think that could be it?
That too, most definitely that too. I've had a few conversations with some people, and I can tell in what they were expressing, it was you left us behind. Without them even being able, it was like they wasn't able to say that, but that's what I was getting from the conversation. It was man, you moving like you. Go ahead.
When you say that, now you make me think it's hurt.
I think the hurt and anger probably running neck to neck. You angry because I moved forward, and it's hurting you because I was probably once the person that you looked up to.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's what we get into it, because that's what I'm wondering. Why is it so hard for other people to do what you've done? Me and you both, we know plenty of people that have gotten out and gone back or gotten out and are successful. We know both on both sides. But I wonder about the recidivism rate. Depending on what state you're in, within the first year, you see 50%, 49% of the people come back to prison within the first year after release. Then you see that number increase up to 70% within the 3 to 5 years. So I'm like, man, what is it and what will it take for people to get out of this place? Because when you're in here, you're complaining, you hate it, and all of that. You know what I'm saying? But then when you get out, you don't give yourself a chance. And I'm like, what is that? And that's why I wanted to do this interview. It's what is that'll make a person that hates this place, hates prison, being here, being separated from the people that you love and all this and that, can't do, not free to do what you would like to do. What is it that'll make a person get out and risk coming back? You know what I'm saying? What is it? And now listening to you talk, it's like they don't see themselves doing anything else. And that fear of being ostracized, what I'm saying? Because how did you deal with that? With the people saying that you were a traitor or snitch, whatever the terminology you use.
It hurt.
How did you process that?
That was hurtful. These are people that I love and care about. Like that it was hurtful. And
you still love and care about them to this day, I'm sure.
Man, yeah. And when I get chances, I'll say, what's up, man? You just on my heart, and I keep pushing. But I came to understand early home that everybody wasn't able to go, and everybody don't want to grow. Everybody don't want to grow. Now, when it comes to, I've also seen, I got a friend right now who he can't let them people go. He just can't let them go. And I think that comes, when I came home, I had a vision, and I knew, like, I had a purpose. I think when it comes to what you were saying, people coming out and going back in, even though they complain and they hate that place, prison, for one, does not prepare you for, if you really do have something in your heart you want to do. The one thing most people do when they get out of prison, and people tell them to do, is go get a job. People get out and go get that job, and it's something that they have to do versus something that they love to do. I came home with something I fell in love with doing. So with me loving that, it was equivalent to me being in the streets. I love the streets. So it was cool to me. Now, And if I did anything outside of what I love, it felt forced. So when it felt forced, it was easy for me to say, "You just forget that. I'm gonna do me." Doing something now, it's the same thing. I'm doing something I love to do, which is do speak-ins. I love to do my books.
I remember when you had gotten out, you had various different jobs. That first year, if I'm not mistaken, various different jobs, and you always talk about how you love the jobs. The supervisors, they were crazy about you. You know, they were getting raises and they wanted you to stay and all this and that. But the whole time they were saying this to you, you were telling me like, "Daddy, I can't see myself doing this."
Right.
And I wanted you to stay because I wanted you to be able to have the benefits, have a safety net. You feel what I'm saying? Not that I didn't believe in you, but I believe that you had to have a safety net. You understand what I'm saying? But you kept saying, "This ain't me. This ain't me." And you said, "I got to go all in with this book. I believe in it." You feel what I'm saying? And you said, "I'm done." You know, I hit you back and I'm like, "What are you doing?" He said, "I'm selling books." I said, "You ain't going to work?" He said, "I get it." You know?
Yeah. And like I was saying, man, that was I was doing something that, like you were saying, you seen it, stability and getting. I understood that as well. But I didn't love the job. It was cool. It was easy work. That part of me was like, yeah, this is something I can do. I love that. But I wasn't in love with the work. I wasn't in love with the job. It wasn't meaningful. It was not serving my purpose in life. I was not able to touch lives. I was not able to travel and move around. What I knew that was within me. So many people dumb down the gift and the talent and everything else that's in them, and they settle because I couldn't find a way. I was having to go get the jobs because I was still having financial issues. I was making, and I hadn't figured out the book thing yet. So I would do the books for a little while, fall short financially, have to go back and get a job, like the job, but I was making money so I could start back investing in what it was I wanted to do. So that one time that I remember what you talking about, I was working at this place where we were it was something with bricks, and I was driving the tow motor. Had never drove the tow motor. They taught me how to drive the tow motor. I had a raise within, probably a month or two. Quick, I moved up quick, but I didn't. It got so heavy on me in that job. I said, no, it's either I'm gonna have to go all the way in, because I don't feel like you can serve your purpose and give and work towards your dream unless you commit completely to the dream and the vision. And I said, man, I'm leaving this time, and I am going to 100%. I'm gonna do all the research I need. I'm gonna do all the traveling I need. When I'm sure, I'm gonna get out here and I'm gonna bust my tail for this, because I love it. This is what I want to do. And I did. And still, even when I committed, because I know people are gonna listen to this, and I want people to understand, sometimes even when you commit, you still can fall short. Because I come from the streets. When it comes to financial literacy, didn't nobody taught me how about no saving, about no budgeting, about no investing, none of this. So I ran into a lot of financial issues again, which led me down, to do other things that I needed to get back situated. I've been home 4 years. The book that I'm pushing now, I've been pushing it for 2 years. I literally just found out what works for me when it comes to selling books. It's been 4 years. I just found out about it. I just really hit it about a year ago. I just really hit it where it's working for me, where I'm okay. So even in that, you just got to keep pushing. You got to keep pushing, and that's what worked for me. I decided, I knew within myself I was going to have to commit fully to what it was I wanted to do. And like I was saying, I still ran into issues as far as when it came to on the financial end, because I was used to, making money just as fast as I was spending it. So it was never an issue. So I had to learn how to manage budget and things like that. And once they got going, once I learned that part of it, I've been just as successful at anything I've ever done with what I'm doing now, with what I love to do. Actually, I'm more successful at doing what I love to do versus anything I've ever done.
Because it's like you're happy. You're doing what you want to do, and you're happy, and you're being able to provide for yourself. But let me ask this though, so when it comes to answering that direct question of why is it so hard for guys to get out of here and move beyond that mindset. It's more of a mindset than anything.
Right.
What I'm hearing you saying is that in prison, they're not preparing the guys, the people that are leaving out of here, for the emotional pitfalls that you're going to face. They're not really preparing them for a life that would allow them to be happy. They just
right.
want them to become, just go get a job like that's going to solve
That's
all
it.
the emotional issues and things going on. And it's
right. And it's a variety of different things. You know, like you just said, the emotional part. People come out of prison and don't have no time to deal with the trauma. Trauma will affect you. Like I told you before, I had one of my friends, you know, when it comes to social awkwardness, like the interview we had, he went on his job after being in jail for like 4 or 5 years. And because I felt the social awkwardness of not wanting to ask people questions and seeing people who had already learned the job, it was almost like he felt inadequate. He felt like he was incompetent to do the job. And instead of asking for help, he chose to quit. And a lot of that come from doing time. And of course, it was many times I was going to malls and promote my book within 2 weeks of being home, coming from, because prison is a world within a world. You learn the language of prison. You come back home, you have to again learn the language of being in society. And then, like I told you that time when me and you was in the cell together, it was like I had died a mental death, but physically I was still here. So my time had stopped in 2007, and now it's 2017. The only memories that I have are from back then. So it was even hard to have conversations because people had gained new memories and new experiences and things like this. And now when I'm trying to be social, the only thing I have is that. I've been home 4 years now. Yeah, now that I've been home 4 years, I have experiences, I have memories, I have things that I can talk about other than during my time and before I done the time. But all of that, like you said, that you don't prepare. You can say to yourself all you want, I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that and I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that. And when you're in that situation and you're the person who's coming out, you actually believe that in yourself. You believe but then as soon as when you step out, you realize, as hard as you have to accept that your goals of what you had of coming home are not realistic when you making them in that cell. And you don't understand that until you step out and see, okay, this might not go. It's because you tell yourself, for example, you say, man, if I survived off making 17 cents, I know I can get out there and get a check. I don't know how them people is struggling out there and ain't able to save and get things and this and that. Yeah, and people say, yeah, I was making 50 cents and then here surviving. Well, let me explain something to you when you come home. When you come home, let's say you rent $900 to $1,000 and then you only making $14 an hour on your job. And now you realize that the math is hard, because not only do you got to pay your rent, you got to pay your car note. Not only do you pay your car note, if you ain't paid cash for the car, you got to put gas in your car. Not only do you put gas in your car, you got to eat. So you got to buy food, or you got to cook. You got to go buy food to cook it, or you got to buy food at the fast food restaurant. Not only do you need that, you also got to pay electricity. You also got to clothe yourself. What it costs out here versus what they paying on these jobs gonna have you struggling. And
saying that you're handicapped, man.
You handicapped. Yeah. Yeah, and you
don't have to worry about the meal. They give you 3 meals a day.
Right.
You don't have to worry about electricity because you just flip the lights come on.
Right.
You don't have to worry about getting put out because if you don't pay the rent, because you're not paying rent.
They're giving you your clothes.
Giving you your clothes. Everything in here is given to you.
Right.
And you don't have to pay for it. And you start to believe that you can manage your life that way. When out there, what our parents say out there, life is real. Everything
it's very real.
There costs something, and you have to have money to pay for it.
Yeah. So it's completely different, you know. And people don't. I think a lot of people that's been in this conversation that we're having, I don't think people have these conversations with people. I think they try to, especially men. The men who come out, I think they just try to deal with it how they feel that they know best to deal with it. I don't think they have that emotional conversation about the struggles that they're having within themselves. Pride may get in the way, ego may get in the way, but they're not sitting down and saying to their loved ones or they wives or whoever and saying, look, I don't know why, but I'm feeling like such and such, I've thought, and being able to hit what that is that they're feeling. And when you don't do that, I feel that you most definitely gonna result back, because for one, you feel it as a man. I feel like you have to produce results, you have to provide, you have to do these things, and you're going to, by nature, I feel that you're going to flip that switch on and say, I'm gonna make a way, even if it's risking my freedom again, and not realizing you really, I don't want to go back in there, but
Set yourself
yeah,
up though.
yeah.
Set yourself up for it. Yeah, I get that. I get that. Wow, this has been this is insightful. I think a lot of people benefit from this. I really do. Anna, you got any more questions before I get to the final thoughts?
I guess for Boo, what would you say your purpose was?
My purpose was, and still is to this day, like I said in the beginning when I spoke at that college, I realized my purpose was.
You said that college, but tell us, what college did you speak to? I want to hear that.
It was at Payne College in Augusta, Georgia. The group of the group of students I talked to was the ages from 18 to 25, man, and they were an awesome group of kids, man. They were very receptive to what I was saying. And to answer Anna's question, man, my purpose was to shed light on the life that I've lived before. So people who are either in that life realize that life is not what it's hyped up to be. And another thing, it was to give people a different, give people hope, because there is another way. And if I wasn't fulfilling those things, I never felt complete. You confused, frustrated, angry, upset, anxiety, you stress when you are not connected and doing what you are aligned to do. When you haven't stepped into your purpose, your life is confusion. It's confusion all the way around. Anytime I'm doing those things, trying to deter people from their path or bring people off their path and shed and give hope because of what I'm doing, I'm feeling whole. And that's what I've been doing for the 4 years I've been home. That has been exactly what I've been doing. When people hit me, it's always, man, hey man, you made me see it a different way, or man, you give me hope, or my son finna come out, you giving me hope that he could come home. When I'm hearing that, I know I'm fulfilling what I'm supposed to do, and that's what makes me do what I'm doing and why I am continue to do what I'm doing.
That's good. That's good stuff. I like that. I had written something for my final thoughts. Listening to you talk, I've changed all of it on the fly, so I'm finna just go with it. But before I do that, I want to thank you for getting up. I know you were tired this morning, for this interview. And as always, I want to thank you, Anais, awesome co-host. Let's keep it up, you know what I'm saying? But right now, I want to get to the final thoughts, and this is what I'm going to say to people, about this episode and about what we talked about today. You have to give yourself a chance, because if you don't give yourself a chance, you're coming back here, or you're going to end up living a life that causes harm and pain to other people, and that's not something that you really want to do. Don't be afraid to ask for help, because what I'm hearing you say, Boo, the whole time you were talking is that there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on with you mentally, emotionally, when you get out of these places. And a lot of things that need to be addressed before you get out are not being addressed by the system. They just want you to get out and get a job. As long as they can teach you how to put on a suit, set up straight, and do a good interview and get a job, they think that the problem is solved and crime is going to go down. But I just disagree with that. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that is enough. There's a whole lot more that needs to be done when it comes to people getting out of prison, and you want them to stay out and be successful. You have to be happy emotionally, and that's something that we don't pay attention to in this country when it comes to mental health. People have to be in positions to be as happy and as whole as they can be under the circumstances. And I think a lot of times, because we're coming out of prison, people are coming out of prison, most people are not concerned about our mental health and us being happy. Why would I want somebody to be happy that's getting out of prison that was a murderer, raper, robber, drug dealer, and all these things? The question is, the answer to that is because you want that person living next to you to be somebody that's productive and contributing to society, not taken away from and creating harm in society. So I think that a lot more needs to be done. when it comes to people that are in prison, being prepared to get out of prison. And I think a lot more needs to be done when people get out of prison and being able to seek the help that they need. And I want to thank y'all for listening. And like I've always said, if you like the episode, share it on your social media. And by the way, I got my social media set up now, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, Doing Time with Joe. Go there, leave some comments, give me some show ideas, whatever you want to do. It's cool, and trust me, somebody in my family, somebody will answer those questions for you, because I can't do it. I'm not allowed to have a phone in here, just so you know. But and if you, like I said, if you really like the show, donate, and I appreciate your help. Thank you again, and this has been Doing Time with Joe. Appreciate you. Be blessed.
Thank you for using GTL.